Welcome back. Hopefully, when I upload this video, the intro stays because I have a new intro now. I just pulled it off the internet for free. Um, so haunt season is how many days away? It's like 7 weeks away, but let me find out real quick. So September 2nd is in 42 days. 42 days until Halloween Horror Nights in Orlando. Now, I'm pretty sure it's like 46 for Hollywood. I'm pretty sure. I'm not 100% positive, but I'm only talking about the Orlando event. I don't I don't have a lot of coverage, or I do kind of have coverage for Hollywood, but the people that I do it with, I do podcasts with them every Wednesday. I'm having my own podcast next Friday on the 29th, I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure it's the 29th. You can get me wrong. Yeah, the 29th of September or July will be my first own podcast. Not like being like featured in some other podcast that I'm probably gonna be doing. But haunt season is 42 days away. 42 days away. And what do we have so far? Not a lot. We have 3 haunted houses, single night tickets, express. We have Unmasking the Horror tours and RIP tours, and I'm pretty sure a vacation package as well. I'm pretty sure. I'm not 100% sure. Not positive on that, but I'm pretty sure there's also like some sort of like vacation thing for Halloween Horror Nights in Orlando. But that's all we have. Midsummer Scream is next week. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it's next week. For Hollywood. So that's pretty cool. But Midsummer Scream, what could that possibly be useful for Orlando? Well, I feel like Midsummer Scream, we're gonna get 3 house announcements. Now, I'm being a little bit too generous on 3. It's probably gonna be like 2 in a scare zone, but I'm hoping 3 haunted houses. And what could I think the haunted houses be? I feel like it'll be The Weekend, Bug House, and what might be placing the Evil Dead. Because we know that they started taking things down from the Evil Dead house that they're making. I'm pretty sure they tore everything down. I think they're building a new maze in there. But that's what I think that's gonna be announced because The Weekend has been uh rumored to come to the event for the whole year ever since the year started. It was pretty much a huge rumor. It still is a huge rumor. So now it's not a lot of people's it's on a lot of people's rumored list, I guess. But we're 42 days away. We have 3 house announcements, tickets, express, hotel deals, Unmasking the Horror tour, and RIP tour. Now, this video is not going to be about what we currently have for HHN. It's going to be my top 5 worst and best, or worst and favorite haunted houses of the following years that I have been, which is 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, and 2021. Now, we should get straight to the speculation, or not speculation, my favorite haunted houses that I have been through. I know I haven't been through as much haunted houses. some years I only went through like 4 or 5 haunted houses. So it's not gonna be like a lot of haunted houses that I've been through, but I've been through a good amount for Asian, so I feel like doing a video about this because other people are. I already saw a video, someone's least favorite haunted houses. Now my next video is gonna be my top 5 favorite scare zones and least favorite scare zones. But right now, it's gonna be my all-time favorite and least favorite HHN houses. Starting up with number 5 is Alien vs. Predator HHN 24. Now, this is my first, or not 24, HHN 2014, which is my first year of HHN. I only went through 2 houses that year because it was my first year. AVP was my first ever Halloween Horror Nights house. I completely loved it. Now, I don't really remember a lot about it as I watched some videos about it. Um, but I remember crawling through vents and stuff. I remember seeing xenomorphs and predators all over the haunted houses. I remember there's a part with a face hugger as well. That was amazing. I hope Harness does this haunted house again later on in the future. Now, my four top 4 favorite haunted houses at HHN. This is coming from 2017, which is honestly my favorite year of Halloween Horror Nights that I have been through. And this haunted house that is my fourth favorite haunted house from HHN is Scarecrow the Reaping. I only went to that house once. It was the last night of Horror Nights and the last hour of Horror Nights. Like we waited like 75 minutes. I waited like 75 minutes for it. We were like the last people to go through that house. It was pretty insane. And let me tell you, it was amazing. This haunted house scared the absolute shit out of me. I kid you not. Um, This house was terrifying. I wish every single Halloween Horror Nights house was this terrifying, which I know it's probably not going to be that scary, but it was pretty much my favorite house of 2017. Um, my third house that is my favorite is coming from the same year. It's the first house I've done that year, and that is American Horror Story Volume 2, featuring the Coven, Roanoke, and Asylum. This is the first haunted house that I have done of 2017. It was amazing. I remember a one part of the queue line that was in a sound stage, and all they were playing was the name game, which I thought was really funny. But that house was terrifying. I love the scenes from Asylum, Coven, Roanoke. It was really down to detail with the TV show that I hope they do American Horror Story again, but just of like seasons, not just like 3 seasons at once. Like each house would be like its own season, so it's like a longer taste of each season instead of a haunted house. I feel like that would be pretty darn amazing. Now, my number third favorite, my third favorite Halloween Horror Nights house was in 2019, and that being Graveyard Games. Graveyard Games was my all-time favorite original of that year. I'm surprised it didn't win House of the Year. House of a Thousand Corpses won that, but I wish that house won House of the Year. That house was disturbing in every single way, and I loved it. I loved every single second of it, and I know you guys did too. I know you guys did too. There's no BS about that. That was probably the best haunted house of 2019. The best house of 2019. I swear. It's the one I remember the most. I remember walking to the graveyard in the beginning of the haunted house, where you walk into the graveyard into this uh, tomb or whatever. I don't know what they call them. Mausoleums? I'm not sure what they call it, but it was amazing. I freaking love this house so much. I hope they bring it back. I really hope they bring it back. I don't care if it's a scare zone. I just want this haunted house back. Now, my next two favorite haunted houses of HHN are really biased in my opinion. I forgot to say in the beginning, all my house favorite houses are really biased because I only went through a couple, and they're the ones that are more recent. As I was saying, they're more recent than others. I accidentally paused for some reason. It was an accident. I didn't really mean to do that. But my second favorite haunted house, scary, horror in the Heartland. I loved going back into houses that I already been through in this house. This house was amazing. This is all I ever wanted for an original anniversary house. It was kind of like two anniversary houses of that year without being scary and HHN icons captured. But though scary was pretty. I don't know if it was the worst house of that year. I don't think it was the worst house of that year. In my opinion, Tooth Fairy was the worst house of that year. No, Scary was the best, or second best of that year. Again, really biased opinion, but it's just my opinion. You guys can have your own opinions, because my opinion is not valid. It doesn't speak for everyone else. But yeah, my number one favorite haunted house at HHN is HHN 30's Texas Chainsaw Massacre. French kiss, French kiss, French kiss. This house scared the bejesus out of me. This is the one IP house that I was terrified to go in, but I loved it coming out. I loved in the beginning where you're walking to the gas station and it smelled like a barbecue. Then when you start venturing into the Sawyer family's house, it started smelling like feces and stuff. It was amazing, every single way imaginable. Okay, I love this house. This house was I'm probably over exaggerating, but yeah, that's my favorite HHN haunted houses throughout the years. Now let's go through my least favorite haunted houses throughout the years. Now, number 5 is for me, it's going to be the Tooth Fairy. Tooth Fairy's Revenge HHN 30. This is my 5th least favorite haunted house at Horror Nights. If you think about it, they didn't change anything ever since they had it open in 2020 when the pandemic happened. They didn't really change anything. They changed the audio a little bit, but other than that, they didn't really change anything about the haunted house. Now, in 2020, it was a phenomenal house. If Vacation happened in 2020, that would have been my favorite original house of that year. If Halloween Horror Nights happened. But no, Horror Nights didn't happen. They brought it back. They didn't change anything besides the audio, and it was my least favorite house. I know people hate me for that, but that's they could have done it. They could have done something new, or if they were to do the same thing, at least change it up. But they didn't. I honestly wish they did a new original there, because it was, in my opinion, it was just wasted house space. Another one is from the same year, uh, Beetlejuice. It felt rushed. The whole house felt rushed. There wasn't really any scares. Oh, because when they did it, I'm pretty sure Warner Bros. Was underneath Universal's skin on what they can and cannot do in that house. That's why it wasn't as good, and that's why if they do Scream, it would be very controlled by Warner Bros. and it wouldn't be as good as if Universal did it themselves. So that's why Beetlejuice is one of my least favorite haunted houses. Um, my next least favorite haunted house. Now, don't get me wrong, I love this house, but the way people hyped it, my expectations were so high for this next house that when I went through it, I was completely overwhelmed and they could have done so much better. Or not so much better, but like my expectations were so high for this house because people hyped it up so much. And this is being Poltergeist. I know a lot of people probably hate me for this, but for my third least favorite, it's Poltergeist. People hyped it up too much. If they do it again, I would love to do it again. I only went through that house once, and it had like the second longest wait right behind Stranger Things. So I wish people didn't hype it as much as they did that year. Because if they did it, then it will probably be my top 15 haunted house. 15, yeah, like probably 15 haunted houses, but it's kind of on the lower end. Um, Again, it was a good house. Don't get me wrong, it was a good house. It was just my experience through the haunted house. Now, the next one is in 2019, and that being Stranger Things season 2 and 3. If they could have just waited till last year to do Stranger Things 2 and 3, or have Stranger Things 2 in 2019, have Stranger Things 3 in 2021. Um, I feel it felt kind of rushed going through both scenes. The water effects were nice. I got pretty wet in that house. I don't mind getting wet. The mind flayer in that house was completely amazing. But I had high hopes because people hyped it. It was like the best house in 2018. I didn't experience it in 2018 because lines. Um, but it's number 2 for a reason. I wish they did a little bit better on what they did for that house. Um, but besides that, it was okay. It was an okay house. Um, Now, for my least favorite haunted house that I have been through was the 2016 Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Now, I know that it will probably be people's most favorite haunted house, but for me, going to the 2021 house, it was way better than the 2016. The facade in 2016 was so much better because it was in a sprung tent. They could build a house, so it felt it felt full, like it had the full package, but it didn't. But the 2021 completely blew it away. This is why I prefer the 2021 over the 2016 one, because they saw what they did wrong in the 2016 one and made it better in the 2021 house. The end of the 2021 house, in my opinion, was better than the end of the 2016 house, because in the 2016 house at the end, I had Leatherface behind a wooded fence as people were walking out. It was a good house. If they didn't do Texas Chainsaw Massacre last year, probably the 2016 one would be my favorite, but besides that, it was okay. Um, I'm sorry if this video came out a little bit weird. I accidentally paused the first one. I think it was like 7 minutes or something. I paused that one on accident. Um, But so this is gonna be a pretty long video. It's probably gonna be like 20 minutes long. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. And as always, um, what do I say? Uh, as always, be nice. Be nice to people. Um, Also, when you go to these Halloween events, please, please, please be responsible. There's fights like every single night at Horror Nights. So when you go, please be responsible. I know if you're over 21, you might want to have a drink or two. You can have a drink or two, but please be responsible if you're drinking. If you're going with friends, make sure you have a couple people who don't drink. Like supervise if you are drinking, because you don't want any fights to happen. So besides that, this is the end of the video. See ya.